This is true stuff that really happened to me. And so my thing is, you don't have to do that, homeboy.
Right.
So, you know, you made enough money, you know?
Wow.
You made enough money, you did enough.
In a world of comedy, two things deeply trouble comedians: having their jokes stolen and encountering individuals like Steve Harvey. It seems that Steve Harvey has once again managed to stir the pot, and this time, it's over alleged joke theft. A comedian recently came forward claiming
Steve stole my material on his show, so I had a beef on that.
this happened during a particular show, and he essentially replicated a significant portion of the comedian's Halloween-themed material. What makes the situation even more intriguing is that these were real experiences and personal stories that the comedian had shared. The accuser couldn't help but wonder why Steve Harvey, who had already achieved immense success and wealth, felt the need to appropriate his material. For those familiar with the unpredictability of the show business, it's no secret that the industry is rife with challenges. Comedy, in particular, is where such issues are especially rampant. Mark Curry, the comedian who raised the allegations against Steve Harvey, suggests that Harvey might not be the genuine and original figure that he portrays in the public. Curry, who rose to fame in the comedy business during the early years, has levied multiple accusations against Harvey, many of which seem to be at odds with Harvey's public persona. What makes this case particularly intriguing is that Steve Harvey has a history of being entangled in similar controversies over the years. These past issues may have paved the way for the recent revelations made by Curry. Is Steve Harvey truly a model of a life coach and comedian that we believed him to be? Or are there aspects of his success and persona that have remained hidden from the public eye? You'd think that people who level accusations against others often do so without much to lose. However, Mark Curry is a different kind of individual. It's not every day that we witness stars from the 90s come forward to accuse someone of wrongdoing in the past, but Mark Curry doesn't fit the typical description. Now, it seems that Curry's focus has shifted towards revealing that he believes to be shady practices within the entertainment industry, particularly the act of comedians stealing material from others. Steve Harvey, it appears, is the first person in his sights. Mark Curry, who is renowned for turning his life experiences into comedy, has claimed that Steve Harvey used his jokes on his NBC talk show. The dispute began during an appearance on the Mike and Donnie show. Curry stated, "I quarreled with Steve because he took my material on his show. The man claimed that he performed all of my Halloween content on his show, and I developed a grudge against Steve for using my material." In a recent video, Mark Curry said that Steve Harvey had plagiarized his comedy material not once, but twice. Curry declared, "I believe that Steve Harvey used my content on both of his shows. After speaking with him, I ran into him and I approached him, telling him, 'Man, you're using my material.'" Despite addressing the issue with Harvey previously, the alleged joke stealing continued. Allegedly, Steve Harvey cracked jokes on both The Steve Harvey Show and The Kids Say the Darndest Things. According to the 58-year-old comedian Mark Curry, Curry expressed his frustration, saying, "My issues with Steve Harvey is that he appropriated my material on both of his platforms. He's taking money out of my pocket, and he's already extremely wealthy. Please, stop using my content." What made Curry certain that his Halloween joke had been stolen was that it was based on his real-life experience. He was essentially sharing his own story. According to Mark, he noticed Steve Harvey and approached him. He confronted him, saying, "Hey, you're using my material, and it's affecting my income. You've made more than enough money. You don't need to take it from me." Despite this confrontation, Steve Harvey reportedly continued to use Curry's material, even on his second show, Kids Say the Darndest Things. As the news of Curry's allegation against Steve Harvey spread, it stirred various responses from the public. Some individuals are empathetic and supportive of Curry, with one commenter stating, "I can relate to his pain. I've dealt with people like them my whole life. I saw Mark Curry in person, and he was worth every penny." There's some truth in what people are saying about that man, and it's not just baseless hatred. It's clear that Mark Curry was deeply offended by the use of his work and pleaded, "Please stop using my work, Steve Harvey." He looked directly into the camera with a determined gaze and said, "Just give me a call, and I'll tell you how to use my material. If you're going to use someone else's work, at least do it properly." Mark also hinted that he would be releasing his comedy special soon. Considering Steve Harvey's reputation as a good person who never does anything wrong, it's safe to assume that he didn't take kindly to Mark Curry's accusations. Mark Curry's accusations seem to have struck a nerve with Steve Harvey. Since 2015, Steve hasn't performed live comedy. but he strongly refuted the idea that he stole any of Mark Curry's jokes, emphasizing that Curry couldn't even pinpoint the specific joke he claimed that had been taken in the first place. Steve seemed to be genuinely upset by his accusations, telling Mark to grow up and insinuating that he was making baseless claims. During the interview, the host also challenged Mark Curry to identify the joke he believed he was stolen, suggesting that Mark was unable to do so. Steve Harvey firmly asserted, "In 35 years, I've never stolen a joke. Man up and tell him to mature." Steve Harvey hasn't been on stage since 2015. He dismissed Mark Curry by advising him to get a life and a job, implying that Mark was merely making things up and didn't know what he was talking about. He provided evidence to support his claims, taking to Instagram to share a now-deleted video. In this video, he showcased an episode of his 1990s TV sitcom Hanging with Mr. Cooper. In the show, he would dress up as a UPS delivery person for Halloween, wearing a brown box as a costume. Surprisingly, Steve Harvey cracked the same joke on a show in 2015, referring to himself as a UPS employee with a brown package. This striking similarity lent credibility to Mark's allegations and had fans rallying behind him. People began praising Mark Curry for being correct all along and criticized Steve Harvey in the process. One comment even said, "I agree with what Mark said about Steve." It became apparent that Curry wasn't the only comedian who had issues with Steve Harvey, and these complaints had been going on for quite some time. While many people are now criticizing Steve Harvey, it's worth noting that Mark Curry had more significant popularity and influence than one might initially think. His first TV series role was Sounding Brass, a 1980 comedy where he featured in 6 episodes. Mark's breakthrough came with the critically acclaimed family sports comedy Hanging with Mr. Cooper in 1992. He portrayed the character Mark Cooper in the show, which aired 101 episodes from 1992 to 1997 and received 9 award nominations. Although the show had a promising first season, it faced challenges in maintaining its momentum due to character changes, new showrunners, and shifting time slots. Ultimately, after 13 episodes of the first season, the show was canceled. While Mark Curry didn't have an iconic show that would secure his name in comedy history like some of his peers from the black sitcom era, he continued to appear in various TV series. He took on roles The Jamie Foxx Show, The Drew Carey Show, Fat Actress, and The House of Pain. His on-screen career had its ups and downs, but his stand-up comedy acts remained a highlight for many viewers. In 2007, Mark Curry experienced a life-altering incident where he suffered severe burns due to an aerosol can explosion. He fell into a deep depression and contemplated suicide. However, he decided to seek help, supported by colleagues like Richard Pryor. Following rehabilitation and recovery, Mark Curry resumed his career and made cameo appearances in TV series. Despite the hardships he faced, Mark Curry's resilience and growth over the years have likely made more people take notice of his talent than he may have realized. This may explain how Steve Harvey, a fellow comedian, could have been familiar with his work and possibly borrowed a joke. Steve Harvey, on the other hand, started his career in stand-up comedy in the early 1990s and hosted Showtime at the Apollo from 1999 to 2000. While he has become one of the most popular TV hosts in recent memory, his journey to fame has not been without its share of controversies and disputes. The accusations of joke plagiarism against Steve Harvey by Mark Curry are just one example of contentious situations that Steve has found himself in over the years. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and until next time.